Reflection for today's Gospel, John chapter 9, verse 1 to 41. In this passage from John 9, we witness a profound miracle that Jesus performs. A man who had been blind from birth is healed, but the story goes far deeper than the physical healing. This passage invites us to reflect on spiritual blindness, the nature of faith, and the transformative power of encountering Jesus. The blind man's healing, a sign of God's work. The man who was blind from birth didn't suffer because of any sin, as his disciples initially believed, but rather his blindness was an opportunity for the works of God to be revealed. This teaches us that sometimes challenges or struggles in life are not punishments, but occasions for God's glory to shine through. When we face difficulties, we can trust that God might be at work, even if we don't understand the reasons behind them. Spiritual blindness versus physical blindness. Jesus declares that he is the light of the world. This isn't just about giving sight to the blind man's eyes, it's about opening our hearts to God's truth. The miracle points beyond physical healing to the deeper spiritual truth. Just as the blind man gains physical sight, so too are we invited to open our hearts to God's light, to see his truth in our lives and the world around us. In contrast, the Pharisees, who pride themselves on knowing the law, are spiritually blind because they cannot recognize Jesus as the Messiah, even when presented with undeniable evidence, the courage to speak the truth. The blind man shows remarkable courage throughout this story. Despite the pressure from the Pharisees and the fear of being cast out of the synagogue, he boldly testifies to what he knows. "One thing I do know, that though I was blind, now I see." His testimony is simple but powerful. He didn't have all the answers, but he knew the truth of his own experience with Jesus. This reminds us that our personal encounter with God is something we can share with others, even when faced with doubt or opposition. The journey of faith. When Jesus asks the healed man if he believes in the Son of Man, the man responds, "Who is he, sir, that I may believe in him?" His journey of understanding is a beautiful picture of the way faith develops. Initially, the blind man only knew Jesus as the one who healed him, but by the end of the passage, after encountering Jesus again and having the truth revealed to him, he declares his faith and worships him as Lord. This progression, from physical healing to spiritual sight, is a reminder that faith is a journey, and God patiently leads us from darkness into light. The danger of spiritual pride. The Pharisees' response to the man's testimony is rooted in pride and stubbornness. Despite clear evidence of a miraculous act, they dismiss Jesus because he doesn't conform to their understanding of religious rules, particularly about the Sabbath. They are unwilling to open their eyes to the truth, and Jesus tells them that their self-assuredness in their knowledge actually makes them more spiritually blind. This is a warning to us not to let pride or rigid beliefs prevent us from seeing the truth that God wants to reveal to us, especially when it comes in unexpected forms. Thus, we are challenged to consider not just our physical sight, but our spiritual vision. Are we open to seeing the world through God's eyes? Are we willing to allow Jesus to heal our spiritual blindness? Just as the blind man received both physical and spiritual sight, we too can receive the light of Christ in our hearts. The passage calls us to courageously share what we know of Jesus, to grow in our faith, and to remain humble enough to recognize our own need for his transformative power in our lives.